Hi guys, welcome to our life in the Philippines and our advice section. Today we're going to touch a little bit about real estate and real estate ownerships and what foreigners can do. There's one thing I have discovered and I haven't rushed into anything, and I encourage nobody to rush into a real estate deal here without doing extensive research. Make sure you have an attorney that helps you. And by the way, while we're here, if you want to get some more of these advice in your mailbox here and there, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now and hit the bell, and you will get a notification every time we're doing some advice or uploading a video. So hit it right now. One thing that I encourage people to do when you're going to buy real estate, make sure that you have great legal advice. That's the number one thing to do here when you are. And I want to say this also, I am not a legal expert on real estate here in the Philippines. My experience is more based on what I've learned personally being here for almost 4 years. Actually, it's 4 years here in a couple of weeks. I am a landowner, and I will explain how I did it. And I'm truly not a landowner because foreigners cannot own land in Philippines. But there is ways around it, and I will get into that here in a minute. There was a constitutional change in 1935, so anything that happens after 1935 is actually regulated by this law that foreigners can basically not own land here in the Philippines. Even Filipinos that move outside the country and they renounce or get foreign citizenship, they also actually lose the right to own land in their own country, which I find a little strange, and that's why I'm saying, please research, research, and research. One of the things that we are looking at as far as how can you own real estate in the Philippines, one of the things is the fact that corporations that are 60% Filipino owned can actually buy and own land. So that means that a foreigner can own 40% of the company and that way acquire property and land. There's ways there that has been set up, and like I said, I'm not a legal or an attorney in that respect, but I know, I've heard, I've seen people that have done it, and they issue a power of attorney, irrevocable power of attorney to some of their to the board, and the board signs off on it, and they solve the problem that way. But anyway, when it comes to buying here, either way you do it, please make sure that the legal advice is the foundation for anything you do here in the Philippines when it comes to real estate. One other way that foreigners can own property is to buy a condominium. And maybe that is the most common. You decide to retire, you come here to the Philippines, and you retire. Well, it's very convenient to own a condominium. You have the maintenance taken care of, everything taken care of. And there's very few restrictions, except that if you buy one, make sure that the ownership inside the association is not more than 40% owned by foreigners. In an association or a condo complex, the Filipino ownership has to be 60% or more. So that's the only restriction. If it's 60-40, you're fine. Go ahead and buy one. You're okay with that. Now the other way to get into owning land, or not owning it, but be able to build properties, and I've seen up here in Clark, inside Clark, I've seen companies signing long-term lease, 50 years with 25 years to renew, and then they're investing heavily, building hotels, building all kinds of stuff, and then they have basically 75 years. After the 75 years are gone, I have not been able to find out what happens after that, but I'm sure you can probably renew at 25 years at a time. And my saying is, well, if I buy something and I lease it for 50 and another 25, I'm old enough. I'm 135 years old, so I think I don't care after that point, as long as my wife inherits it. Now, if you lease the land, then you can actually build a home and everything on that piece of land. And that's basically how we sorted out the situation that we are getting into right now, is that my wife owns the title and I sign a 50-year lease with her on the land, and now I can own the buildings on the land, and she owns the land, I owns the buildings, and that, in our case, it seems to be working out pretty good. So that's the only way really you can have this done. But I think legislatures at some point needs to change this, and we need to have some changes. Philippines is a booming country. The economy is pretty good, and there's a lot of investments. And my personal opinion is Philippines would benefit a lot more if they open up the doors for foreign investments to some degree. Thank you for watching, and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell, and you get fresh updates. God bless and goodbye.